All eyes ahead for 2019. We're here to report on the future of the Dallas Cowboys. We move forward with new coaches. We break down the draft, fine-tune the roster, and ask who's getting paid and who's got to wait. And as usual, we bring you insider access to OTAs and minicamps, priming you for 2019. We're the Blitz, and we're bringing it all to you, straight from the Star.
Welcome to a special edition of the Blitz here. You are getting a peek behind the curtain inside Ford Center at Rookie Minicamp. This is the first day these guys are getting to jog through, if you will, and get to know the Cowboys a little bit. Lindsey Draper and Bill Jones. I'm excited to hear all of your thoughts about these guys out here, Bill.
Hey, it feels like football season this weekend as the rookies were greeted with unseasonably cool temperatures as they landed here on Thursday, and then here on Friday out here inside at Ford Center. There's some construction going on, so they're not outside where it is football weather outside.
We're not the weather segment, if you will, of the evening, but it's been a crazy week of weather, Bill. The golf tournament happened earlier this week out at Cowboys Golf Club, and yes, it did still happen. It was pouring rain all morning long, but the sponsors and the players were excited when none other than Ezekiel Elliott showed up for the afternoon round.
Yeah, they actually were able to get out on the golf course, and I always love it when Zeke is out on the golf course because he plays that game with the same passion that he plays football. He's not near as good at that game as he is at the game of football, but it's always fun to watch Zeke on a tee box.
Obviously, the media was there ready to catch up with Stephen Jones, and he got into a little bit of the status of some contract talk going on around here at the Star.
Well, we're off and running, and Zeke, don't get me wrong, I mean, we can do more than two. I mean, Zeke's as we all know, he's such an important player to this organization. He's a guy that we want to have here long term. The only reason you say, well, maybe he's not at the front is because he's got this year, then he's got another year at his tender, and, these things can take time. But, Zeke's every bit as important, and then, you start going down the line, whether it's a Byron Jones, a Lyle Collins, these guys will come up, Jalen Smith. I mean, these are all players that we'll need to address at some point in time, and these are all players that we've drafted, that we've developed, that we've think are the right kind of guys that play our defense, play our offense the way we want it played, and certainly guys we want to keep. So it's a great problem to have because we do have good young football players, but it's also a challenge.
Yes, the next order of business are the contracts of Dak and Amari, and Zeke won't be far behind.
No, and at the golf tournament as well, they kind of gathered up and had a chalk talk with the Joneses and Jason Garrett, and someone asked him who he is going to have his eye on here at Rookie Minicamp. Here's what he had to say.
I'm interested in seeing Mitch Hyatt, the left tackle from Clemson. And was that you were picking?
You're going to have to name another one.
Sorry. Yeah. This guy's a really interesting guy. He was the #1 offensive tackle coming out of high school. He went to Clemson, started day one of his freshman year, and started for 58 games. Played in 3 national championship games. They won 2 of them. And that's his coach Dabo, who should run for president because he's such a charming guy, and every guy's the greatest guy. But he said he's blocked them all. He's blocked our guys in practice. He's blocked all these guys in the SEC and the ACC, and he went undrafted. And so he was a guy that we looked at and said, if you think about a lot of the things you want in football players, he's physically, looks like he's supposed to look. He's big, he's tall, he's long, he's athletic. He's played at the highest level of college football. He's started and been productive there. And for whatever reason, 32 teams chose not to draft him. And so we're excited to get him.
Including you.
Including us. And so we're excited to get him. We'll get him in here. And like I said, we'll bring him in and have him compete and just see where he is. But it'll be fun to watch him play, watch him develop.
Leave it to the head coach to pick one of those undrafted college free agents he's going to have his eye on. And why not? That big offensive lineman, number 65 from Clemson, Mitch Hyatt, 4-year starter at Clemson. And I would think Lindsay, you want as many Clemson players on your football team as you can get.
It's not going to hurt you. That's what I'm saying. People were surprised, actually, that he wasn't drafted. So this will be an interesting one to see how it plays out. We got into this draft class a little bit. Coming up next, Nick Aikman is joining us from practice to discuss some of the best draft classes this Cowboys team has had recently. Stick around.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz is brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And by Dallas Cowboys Football Club. For the ultimate Dallas Cowboys experience, tour the Star in Frisco, where the Cowboys train and work. For more information, visit thestarinfrisco.com/tours. This segment is brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing.
Welcome back into the Blitz. Bill, I got to ask you, when you evaluate a draft class, how many years do you give it before you come back and really evaluate?
Oh, I think you have to give it at least 3 or 4 years, really, to see what a draft class looks like. And
that's how you play fair. People don't do that.
That's right. You can't grade a draft class like 3 or 4 hours after the draft is held. Tell you what, let's go into the bullpen, which has moved out here on the practice field at Ford Center, and let's bring in Nick Aikman to talk not only about this draft class, but Nick, let's take a trip down memory lane. Some great draft classes of the past, and I think you got to go all the way back to the 60s and 1964 for what may be the greatest draft class ever. When you have 3 Hall of Famers in a draft class, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, you can't. Anytime you get 3 Hall of Famers in one draft class, I mean, it's hard to get 3 Hall of Famers in a decade. You know, so the fact that you can get Staubach and Mel Renfro and of course Bob Hayes, but the foresight that it took that draft. Of course, everything's different. Back in the day, you had to really do a lot of searching. Now, you're getting Rico Gathers off the basketball team and things like that. But back then, to be able to have that foresight to get those guys, it's hard to beat the 64 class. Now, there's some other ones that can rival it, but 3 Hall of Famers, that wins.
And one draft class that I've always loved was 1975, which was the Dirty Dozen, headlined by Randy White, a Hall of Famer. You had Hollywood Henderson in that one, Burton Lawless, Bob Brunig, Tom Hegman, Herb Scott. You had 7 starters come out of that draft class. But how about 1989, the one that was topped, of course, by the #1 overall pick, Troy Aikman?
Yeah, I think anytime you get the #1 pick, that's certainly going to help your class. But it was what they did after that. They really getting those core players, the Stanowskis and Daryl Johnstons, Tony Tolbert, those guys right there. That 89 draft, but that was the most important draft just because Jerry and Jimmy were running the show there and needed a jolt there. And to it's hard to miss in the 89 draft. There was 4 of the top 5 guys I believe are in the Hall of Fame, but I think they got it right there with Troy Aikman.
Jerry Jones right over your shoulder now, Nick. He's listening into our conversation.
Great draft in '89. Great draft, Jerry. Good job.
In fact, all of them have been great, haven't
right?
they?
Exactly.
Well, what about 2016? Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, the way Jalen Smith turned out. It's about that 3-year time, Bill, to start evaluating from 2016.
Definitely, the 2016 draft, we did a list of the top 20 classes, and we put that one up pretty high, mainly because even though there's still work to be done and you can still evaluate that class, but they've got a franchise running back, they got a franchise quarterback out of the same class, and they're going to have a linebacker that I think is going to be here for many years to come making plays. So anytime you can get 3 great players like that in one class, again, the jury's still out on how well it's going to be, but I think right now it's really good.
Which brings us to this draft class, and without a first-round draft pick, it'd be hard-pressed to be one of the great draft classes of all time. But Tristan Hill, the second-round pick, Connor McGovern, the third-round pick. What kind of expectations do you have for this draft class?
I really think this class is going to come in and contribute some this year. I think you're going to get a lot more starters next year. I think at 2020 is where you're really going to see, hey, you know what, this is a pretty good class, because that's when I think Connor McGovern will find a way into the starting lineup, and I do think Tristan Hill will play a little bit more. Not to write him off this year. We'll see what happens with some of these rookies, but I think as they develop, I could see a better role for Pollard next year, maybe one of these late-round picks. So it's going to be a pretty good class this year. Next year, I can see them starting a little bit more.
All right. Need a year to always get acclimated, especially on the defensive line. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining us. We'll let you get on back to practice, but not after. Next segment, we have Nick going one-on-one with Tony Pollard to catch up and see how excited he is to contribute to this offense and be a Dallas Cowboy.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. This segment is brought to you by Formation. Work the Cowboys way at the Star in Frisco. Formation offers workspaces, dedicated desks, and private offices. For more information, visit formationatthestar.com.
Welcome back to the Blitz from Ford Center here. Bill Jones, I just got to tell you, I got Tony Pollard on my mind because this is a player who can do it all, running back, kick returner, kick out to wide receiver, and seems like Kellen Moore might have some ideas up his sleeve.
Yeah, he might, and I think there's a lot of intrigue about this player because he is a skill position player. He's a running back. He's a wide receiver. He's a kick returner, and he is standing by with Nick Aikman.
Quick interview real quick. Right against the wall here. Tony.
Hey guys, Nick Aikman here, DallasCowboys.com. I'm with Cowboys' new running back, Tony Pollard, a 4th-round pick from Memphis. And first day here, you got to be excited about being here at the Star and seeing your rookie class. Just what are the emotions like for you?
I mean, it's emotions everywhere, but I'm honestly just ready to come here, get to work, you know, just enjoy the experience.
What has it been like here these last couple of weeks after, you know, getting the call of getting drafted? What's it been like of, you know, going back, you know, home and just a lot of people calling and, you know, phone blowing up, stuff like that?
I mean, it's definitely different, you know, going everywhere and somebody somewhere always knows you, you know, always being known no matter where you are. So it's a different experience. But
You got more friends now than you had before?
Friends I never knew about.
A lot of people. What are some of the questions that they're asking? I mean, you know, obviously this team has Ezekiel Elliott here, and what are some of the questions that they have, or you might have, about how things are going to fit here with your role?
When I came on my visit, they told me I would be like a good change of pace back. You know, come in when Zeke is tired on 3rd downs, or even being in the game together when he's in there. So just being able to be a change of pace back.
You said you were growing up, Reggie Bush was the guy that you followed, and your game was very similar to him. After you were drafted, Stephen Jones said Alvin Kamara was a player that he thought you kind of resembled a little bit. What do you think about that comparison and also getting to play like Reggie Bush as well?
I mean, I would definitely say the same, you know, just being able to do a lot of different things, you know, line up in the backfield, run routes out of the backfield, or line up in the slot, or making plays on kick return, on special teams, just being able to be a playmaker on all areas of the field.
What is it like to kind of be that change of pace and maybe not have to carry the load all the time, but be fresh at all times?
I mean, it's a win-win situation for me and, you know, Zeke and the other backs. You know, all of us getting a chance to showcase our ability with, you know, the way the Dallas Cowboys run our offense. We like to run the ball a lot, so Zeke, of course, will get his carries, and we also can get our shine, too.
How important is this weekend here, the camaraderie with the new rookie class? And I know, you know, you've got a guy from Central Florida there, Tristan Hill, and you guys have played against him as well, but just kind of building a bond with these new rookies.
I mean, you know, during this mini camp, this would be a good chance for all of us to just bond, you know, get tight with each other. As far as right now, we're kind of just coming from different areas, so it's not too close yet. But I know during mini camp, a lot of us will get a lot closer and bond.
All right, I'm gonna ask you one more. Let's talk barbecue real quick. Okay. I know that that's a big deal in your family. Texas barbecue, you tried it yet? What do you? Does it compare?
I hadn't tried it yet. I might try it though. I might have to see what it's like.
What makes? What's the best dish at Pollard's? Or what's the best dish you guys have, or your favorite dish?
See, people ask me that all the time, and honestly, I don't know what to tell them because I eat everything. Like, I may eat a slab, I may eat some nachos, I may eat a burger or a smoked sausage. So I like to eat some of everything. I don't just like to stick with one thing.
All right, that's Cowboys' 4th-round pick, Tony Pollard.
Well, Bill, it seems like Jerry Jones is on your shoulder telling you what to say about Tony Pollard.
I got Jerry on one shoulder, and I got nothing on the other shoulder. And you know what? If Jerry were to talk about Tony Pollard, he would say what a lot of you out there are saying about him. It could be exciting to see Tony Pollard in this offense. Right, Jerry?
Right, Bill Jones. You are correct. Coming up next, we are giving you a behind-the-scenes look at those rookies and when they arrived here at the Star, their reactions, their fittings, and everything in between. That's next.
This segment was brought to you by Formation. Work the Cowboys way at the Star in Frisco. Formation offers workspaces, dedicated desks, and private offices. For more information, visit formationatthestar.com.
Come join us at the Star in AT&T Stadium this summer for our 2019 Dallas Cowboys Youth Camps. Our football academy is run by former Dallas Cowboy Danny McCray and coached by other former NFL athletes. And new this year, our current Cowboys players will also be involved in the camps. Our Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders will also be involved in the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders Dance Academy. We have 10 camps starting in June and running through early August. Each camper will get 2 standing room tickets to a Dallas Cowboys preseason game, exclusive merchandise, and more. Go online to dallascowboys.com/academy to learn more and register now.
And you will be right here on this field at Ford Center with some of these players, and it's nice now for the rookies, Bill, the way it's structured for them to come in here, get acclimated, and just stay for training.
Yeah, but can you imagine what the last 2 weeks have been like for these rookies?
Sitting at home.
Yeah, the euphoria of being drafted or signing with the team, and then they have to sit for 12 days or so before they actually report to that team. It's sort of been virtual reality the last 12 days. Now it's real reality as they get oriented, and then they go right in to the off-season program with the veterans, and that's when reality really hits.
Some of those veterans were kind of peeking through the doors down here, getting a look down at the fields, but we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes look of these rookies right when they got here at the Star in Frisco and everything they did as soon as they arrived.
I want to be one of the first guys, I guess, to welcome you guys to the Star here with the Dallas Cowboys.
Let me just kind of hold your neck up stiff for me. Now, that I have to know. Is there some other?
We got one more for you. We got this license plate.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, man. I don't know about that.
Personalized license plate for you. So go ahead. Get a shot back on that spot.
I can keep this?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. Okay. Cool. Hey guys, Nick Eatman here, DallasCowboys.com, and you know the name, Larry Allen Jr. This is the son of NFL Hall of Famer legend Larry Allen.
And right there, chin is down just a little bit, okay, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3.
That's look good, man. I like too.
What's up, Cowboys Nation? It's your boy Donovan Wilson. I'm here at the Star and I'm ready to get to work. We done bought it.
Well, you heard from the head coach, the player he is going to have his eye on during minicamps, but what about Bill Jones? You always got to keep an eye on Bill Jones's players, and that's what we'll wrap with next on the Blitz.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz was brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And by Dallas Cowboys Football Club. For the ultimate Dallas Cowboys experience, tour the Star in Frisco, where the Cowboys train and work. For more information, visit thestarinfrisco.com/tours.
Let's wrap it up here from practice. I don't love the term pet cat. It just sounds weird, but I guess we are both going to have one right now. I'm going with Mike Weber Jr. I'll tell you why, because the Cowboys thought really highly of him and got him in the 7th round. He's going to be behind Ezekiel Elliott. Ohio State kind of got that chain there, and he's friends with Jordan Lewis. He's from Michigan. He's very quiet, and I think he has a little chip on his shoulder, Bill.
Yep, and very familiar with Zeke Elliott. Could be a good teammates like they were at Ohio State. I'm going to go with the cornerback 5th-round draft pick, Mike Jackson out of Miami.
Good one.
And, you know, Chris Richard has had success in the past with big corners taken in the 5th round, i.e. Richard Sherman. I'm not saying this guy is Richard Sherman, but
comparison, Bill.
But he's big enough he could play safety. And with Byron Jones coming off the hip surgery, he's going to get a real opportunity this offseason and on into the preseason.
Well, we just talked about an amazing draft class in 2016, and none of those guys we listed were in the 1st round. So that kind of makes this exciting, knowing disappointing you didn't have that first-round pick, but there's still a lot of hope. You never know.
There is. It's going to be very interesting as we go through the offseason. And OTAs will be here before we know it next week.
Happy Mother's Day to all.
No, happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you, Bill. Home Run Derby coming up next week. We'll have it all for you right here on The Blitz.